guys, so today I'm actually going to be sharing with you some of my favorite books so far that I've read this year. You guys know, if you've been following me for a while, that I love to read. Unfortunately, I don't always make the time for it, but this year I've made a commitment to myself to read as much as I can. So I have a few books that I want to share with you that have really inspired me. I have already done a book recommendations video on our Everything Luxy channel, which I will include in the bottom bar, and all those books are still my favorite. Those books have truly shaped me and supported me on my journey through life. To this day are my go-to books. All of those books that I talked about, I still have, I still love, I still read from time to time. So those books are still my favorites, and I will include that video in the bottom bar. If you haven't yet seen it, I highly recommend you watch the video and pick up one or two or all of the books. Like I said, they all have made a difference in my life, huge difference in my life. So it is my pleasure to share them with you, and you know, in hopes of inspiring you as well. So one of the first books I have to share with you today is by Paolo Coelho. It's his newest work. It's called Manuscript, found in Accra, or Accra, I'm not sure. Paolo Coelho is already very famous, and you've probably either heard of or read his book The Alchemist, which is one of his most popular books. So if you love Paolo Coelho's work and you love The Alchemist, I pretty much guarantee that you will love this one as well. It's written in a very simple language and format, which is kind of a question-answer format. So I love that type of stuff because it really kind of speaks to the conversations we all have in our heads. And the wisdom, it's very, like I said, it's very simple, but it's very profound and it's very touching. And it's one of those books that, like, I feel like it'll be one of those books that, you know, you just kind of pick up. And you can see here, I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but I've highlighted my favorite parts. And it's one of those things that, like, I'll pick up on any given day. I'll open on whatever page and read the little part, and it will speak to me, like it will be exactly what I need to hear on that type of day. So yeah, like I mentioned, if you love Paolo Coelho's work, you will definitely love this one, so I highly recommend it. So the second book I have to share with you guys today is called If the Buddha Dated, a handbook for finding love on a spiritual path, and it is by Charlotte Kasl. Here's what the book looks like. What I really love about the author and what really fascinates me is that she's a spiritual practitioner, she's a successful, you know, best-selling author, she is a Reiki healer, and she offers such profound wisdom where, you know, she takes the spiritual wisdom and really makes it applicable and really easy to apply and very practical to our everyday life. And also what I really love is how she uses and fuses together all the spiritual practices like the Christianity and Buddhism and Sufism and all other spiritual practices, and draws the wisdom from all of those practices into kind of the same message, because the message is the same. The message is of love, is of self-love, is of respect of yourself, of others. So there's lots of great profound wisdom, lots of important messages to kind of embody, because you really can't expect the world or anybody else to love you unless you practice self-love, self-respect on an everyday basis. So this one is a very powerful book, and one of those books that I know I will keep going back to time and time again. I think all of those books are so important because it reminds you, you know, sometimes when I read it, I'm really like, wow, this is really common sense things, but somehow on the path of life, we just kind of forget, especially when, you know, love hormones are involved, we kind of forget about all these things and we get lost in the day-to-day life. So it's really great to have, you know, very powerful and simple advice and wisdom that we can all apply to our everyday life. So definitely highly recommend this one as well. So the third book that I'm going to share with you today is called The Charge by Brendon Burchard, Activating the 10 Human Drives That Make You Feel Alive. Honestly, all of these books I'm sharing with you are my favorites, but if there was only one that I would suggest and could pick just one, and one for you to go out and buy and read and embody, it would definitely be this one, because it has really affected me in such a profound and positive way. What I've done is when I went to LA, if you've been following my journey this year, when I went to LA for a month in January, what my purpose was is to kind of do, well, one, I always wanted to live in LA, so I wanted to see what that would be like. And second is to read this book, but not only read it, because sometimes, you know, you'll read a book and it will kind of go in one ear and out the other. What I really wanted to do is embody all the wisdom, because I had a feeling intuitively that it's going to be very powerful. So what I've done is I not only bought, well, Alex actually gave me the hard copy, so, which I really appreciate. Thank you, Alex. It was a great, great book. So what I've also done is I bought the audio version, and what I did is I was listening to the audio version and reading the book at the same time, highlighting the parts that really spoke to me, and also making notes after, because there's parts where you have to, he gives you exercises to do at the end of the chapters. So I really wanted to kind of do this as almost a course, and I can't tell you guys how powerful and practical the changes have been in my own life. So I definitely recommend this one. And what I really love about the author also is he is one of the most passionate, authentic authors that I've ever read. You know, he really kind of draws the wisdom back to his own life and makes it really easy to relate to. He shares a lot of personal stories and a lot of his own personal journey and path to, you know, being on the bottom and how he got all the way to the top. So I definitely love this book, highly recommended. One of the best books I've read in my entire life. And if you really, you know, take the advice and put it into practice in your own life, I guarantee you will see results, because I've done it and it works. So highly recommend The Charge. If it's just one book you're gonna pick up, definitely pick up this one. All right, the next one I have to share with you is by Steve Harvey, and most of you guys already probably know him from Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. If you haven't read the book, you've probably either heard or watched the movie, and this one is called Straight Talk, No Chaser: How to Find, Keep, and Understand a Man. And ladies, don't we all want to do that? Don't we all want to understand what goes in the head of men? So I actually read this 2 years ago, and I reread it recently, so that's why I wanted to bring it to your attention. And what I love about Steve Harvey is his style of writing. He kind of injects a lot of humor into his writing, so it's really easy to digest the information. And of course, I mean, I personally always want to know, because I feel like women and men are in some ways wired differently. So personally, if a man shares dating advice or any kind of advice about what goes on in a man's head and how to understand them better and how for us to just like coexist better, I will take the advice from a man over a woman when it comes to what goes on in man's head, because, you know, he's a man, so he personally knows what he's talking about. So I really enjoyed this book. It opened my eyes to a lot of things. It's a lot of common sense things, but also a lot of profound things that we don't even think about. And men are, not to put men down, but really it's very simple, and if you understand it, it's like a formula, and if you understand it and you get to really put it into practice, it makes all the difference. I've personally applied it in my own life, and I can tell you huge difference and huge positive changes. So definitely recommend this one. And lastly, it's a little bit different from all the rest of the books, but it's still nonetheless a great book. It's by Bobbi Brown, and it's a makeup manual for everyone from beginner to pro. I definitely agree with the title. If you are a beauty enthusiast, or if you're just a beginner, or if you're a pro, it doesn't matter, or anyone in between, this is such a great practical book. I mean, it's full of step-by-step sort of photos, lots of step-by-step photos, lots of tips, lots of, you know, tricks of the trade. Very simple, very clean photography, kind of just straight to the point. I really love how it's divided into different sections. Very useful, very practical. I mean, I don't think there's anything else I can say. If you love makeup and if you want to learn more about makeup, or really just like take it back to the basics, this is, you know, a go-to. You have to have this in your arsenal of books on beauty. Definitely recommend it. It's very useful and very powerful. It's one of those things that you will keep going back to, or even can pass on to, if not your friends, maybe your little sister, or maybe even your daughter one day, who knows. So I definitely recommend this one. It was an awesome, awesome book. So there you have it, guys. Those are all the books that I wanted to share with you guys today. I really hope that you enjoyed these books, but now I want to know what your favorites are, because I'm always on the lookout for, you know, books that inspire or teach, or just are there to support us in going after our dreams and creating the life that we all want to create for ourselves. So if you have any recommendations for me, please share them in the bottom bar. I'll be so happy to check them out and add them to my to buy to read list. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, share with your friends and family, follow me on Instagram and Twitter for daily pictures and updates, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!